Welcome! Shut up, I am tired.
Okay.
Scully is a liar.
All right.
You shouldn't have
That's
said anything
amazing.
about
My name is Donovan.
So,
Today we'll be learning about
The fish in Lake Louisville.
yep. So, Unit 2. We're starting off strong already. Suppose we want to know the average or the mean length of all fish in Lake Louisville. Is that a value that is known? Yes or no?
No.
No. Could we find it out?
Yes.
All of them?
If you had a lot of time.
You had a lot, but what is constantly happening every millisecond?
They're growing and having little fish babies.
They're having little
dying.
babies and then they're dying. And so it's really impossible because every millisecond that is changing. And so at any given point in time, how many values are there for the mean length of fish in a lake? That's something we couldn't really figure out. If we could figure that out, we would call that a parameter. A parameter is typically unknown, but it is a fixed value about a population. So the word parameter goes with population. They both start with a P, so it's really easy to remember that. Population, parameter. It is a fixed value and it's always given. Then if we wanted to estimate this instead of taking a parameter, because that's impossible, we could take what we call a sample, which gives us a statistic value. It's a value calculated from the sample. So sample statistic. The easiest way that I can explain this, that I think is easier to understand, is if I'm talking about PCA is my population. So all students at PCA. The average GPA is 3.82.
That's ambitious.
Definitely not.
Okay, let's go lower. 3.57.
Still pretty ambitious. 3.0.
3 point,
Let's just start with the decimal point.
3.21.
Fine.
Okay, we're good with that. That's fine. I'm gonna make you go and figure that out. All students at PCA, the average GPA is 3.21. Then I take a sample of 100 students. The average is, let's say 3.94. So I'm gonna circle the parameter and the population because this was given to me. So all students at PCA is my population. 3.21 is my parameter. 100 students I should put at PCA. That's my sample. And 3.94 is my statistic. So the 3.94 had to be calculated from my sample, whereas the parameter was just given. So that's what they advertise on the PCA website. And so once we start getting into how we sample, that's going to determine if it's an accurate sample or not. Because this value is a lot larger than what the population is, right? So the way I sampled was probably some sort of bias or inaccurate. Maybe I took only the AP and pre-AP classes. Well, that wouldn't be an accurate sample. You see this a lot of times, like in real world, when you're seeing like election predictions, and they'll say like this person that's running has a 90% approval rating, or they have a 90% chance of being selected, that number could be skewed, could be a lot higher because of the sample that they're taking it from. So maybe they only polled people in Texas. Well, that's not going to be as accurate as if you polled everyone in the United States. You're going to get skewed data. But we talk more about that in other chapters. We talked a little bit about measures of central tendency, especially when we're cussing. We only reported the median, but we're going to learn how to find all of them today. Mode is the most often. We don't really talk about that, but you do need to know what it is. But it's really not used compared to mean and median because the mode doesn't necessarily tell us anything about the center. The median is the middle value. It divides the observations in half. To find it, you list them in numerical order. If the value is odd, then it's the single middle value. Or if the values are odd, the values are even. You find the middle two and you average them. N is your sample size. I think we're good at that. So let's say I took a sample of 5 fish. The median would be what? 5. My middle number. Yay. Now we have 6 observations. My median would be what? 5.5. Good. The next one is your mean. We use the Greek letter M, so mu, to represent the population mean. And we use the English alphabet X bar to represent sample mean. So on the blank page to the left of your first slide, so go back a page, the blank page, I want you to start we're going to make a big T chart, a Miss T chart, and I want you to write population on the left-hand side. Don't draw the T chart all the way down because we're going to do some stuff at the bottom at the end of the chapter. And the right side will be sample. So the first thing we have talked about is parameter. Remember, that is given. It's a fixed value. Then we have sample statistic. That is a value that is calculated. The next thing we've just learned is that mu is for population and X bar is for sample. And these is when I'm talking about the mean. So all Greek symbols are going to be associated with population, and that is simply because they are fixed values. Then all of your English alphabet is going to go with your sample. So a good way to differentiate is that population is Greek, English alphabet is going to be sample. And that's going to be true throughout for the rest of the symbols we'll learn. Formula is you're going to add them all together and then divide by however many your sample size is. But like I said, we never have to do this by hand. It'll always be in the calculator. So I'm going to start small, and I know that this is a really simple example, but I'm going to teach you how to plot these points in your calculator and find the average and things like that. So what I want you to do, and I'm going to show you the calculator on the board.